NPP. This is Focus, and once again, we are live on GBC News and also live on Unique FM. And our major conversation is going to be on the issues concerning Galamsey. We'll look at what the various political parties, especially the NDC and the NPP, have got in their manifesto in resolving this particular issue. But like I stated earlier, it was an interesting conversation and debate in Parliament yesterday as to who has actually polluted our water more. Let's take a listen to what happened in Parliament yesterday. When we get back, we'll be talking more. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Sit down and listen. And I'm very happy when the minority leader challenged us that we will debate this matter and the culprit will be mentioned. In fact, we are ready to debate now. If we are to look and investigate both sides of the house, you have had the opportunity to rule this country before. I can tell you, you polluted the water more than us. You polluted the water more than us. So let's get matters straight.
Speaker, this is as a result of Galamsey. And he is the Minister for Defense. The President of State is President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So if the President has failed, he should admit so. And if he has failed as a Minister for Defense in tackling Galamsey, he should admit so. It is wrong for him to cast insinuations and aspersions and creating impressions that somebody is making political statement. The executive power of state is with the President. And you are the Minister for Defense. If you can tell us that you cannot deploy the military to stop Galamsey, but you can deploy the military to stop the exportation of maize, and so we should clap for you. Mr. Speaker, the issues we are talking about, they are serious issues. Our livelihood is threatened.
Who are those participating in the Galamsey? If we take census, some of you will be there. And the people you are talking to are aware. It's not that they are not aware. They are aware that some of you are participating in it. So please, first, desist from doing it yourself. Don't go to them for the money for your campaigns. Don't go to solicit their votes. Let them see you work. Truly, it's a disgrace that we've gone to this far. Look at the water. Horrible.
That was what happened in Parliament yesterday, and you heard from the Speaker. I mean, that final word, horrible. Let's quickly take a look at what the NDC has got in this manifesto in resolving this particular issue. And after that, we'll also go to that of the NPP. It comes on promoting responsible mining for sustainable development. The next NDC government will wage a ruthless war against illegal mining and roll out an aggressive program to reclaim polluted water bodies, degraded lands, and devastated forest reserves. One, place a ban on new mining activities in forest reserves and amend the mineral and mining law to actually impose stiffer punishment on mining in water bodies. It goes further to talk about the decentralized regulatory and licensing process for artisanal miners. And you also have implement a Tree for Life reforestation policy and a Blue Water Initiative to heal and harness the environment by turning areas degraded by illegal mining into economic and ecological recovery hubs. Further, it talks about set up a novel Ghana Gold Board to regulate the small-scale mining sector. Now, the board will restructure the small-scale mining sector by, first of all, providing mining support services to the industry, including concession, viability, health, safety, and efficiency in mining operations, equipment, finance, and research, and standardization, gold recovery, optimization, and post-mining and land reclamation services, and comply small-scale miners to undertake skills training in land reclamation techniques as a required component of the operations to minimize the adverse environmental impact. Still within it talks about also comparing small miners to undertake skills training in land reclamation techniques as a required component. It talks about place restriction on the exports of unrefined gold produced by small-scale mining companies in the medium terms, and ensure that the Bank of Ghana's gold purchasing program will be backed by a metal leveraging program with the international billion holders. Now, this is just briefly on what the NDC is going to do in their manifesto. Let's move straight to that of the NPP and find out also in their manifesto what their plans are in this particular area in resolving this particular issue, which is a bigger threat that we have on us as a country. Now, protect our environment. It talks about enhance the protection of our forests and biodiversity hotspots, restore our forests through reforestation program and also restore our forests through reforestation program. It talks further by saying targeting 30,000 hectares of degraded land areas for reforestation and plantation development annually. Establish 1,000 hectares of bamboo and plantation annually for watershed protection and plantation development. Provide tree seedlings and plantain suckers in the minimum of 1,000 communities to ensure the national reforestation and plantation development program. And that plan goes further, saying that to usher in a golden age for Ghana-owned small-scale mining for wealth and jobs, and also promote responsible and sustainable small-scale mining, including addressing illegal small-scale mining by making available proven reserves data to actually small-scale miners to help deal with the associated problem of trial and error digging for gold. And then further simplify the small-scale mining licensing regime, also scaling up the use of the mercury-free gold catcher machine, technology which is less damaging to our environment, and ensuring strict adherence to mining laws and regulations to prevent illegal and improper mining practices. And further talks about the protect and preserve our water bodies by first of all vigorously protecting both surface and underground surface water by enforcing the provision of the water use regulation, reviewing and strengthening the water buffer zone policy for implementation and protection, other aspects of it too. So these are what the two political parties, that is the NDC and the NPP, have got in their manifesto in resolving this particular issue. What we're going to do is that I'll just go for a quick break. Our guests will take their seats, and then when we return, I'll introduce them. We'll get to know exactly how we can solve this problem, especially understanding what led us to this particular situation. The program is focused. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
When the minority leader challenged us, that we would debate this matter and the culprit will be mentioned. In fact, we are ready to debate now. If we are to look and investigate both sides of the house, you have had the opportunity to rule this country before. I can tell you, you polluted the water more than us. You polluted the water more than us. So let's get matters straight.
Speaker, this is as a result of Galamsey. And he is the Minister for Defense. The President of State is President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So if the President has failed, he should admit so. And if he has failed as a Minister for Defense in tackling Galamsey, he should admit so. It is wrong for him to cast insinuations and aspersions and creating impressions that somebody is making political statement. The executive power of state is with the President. And you are the Minister for Defense. If you can tell us that you cannot deploy the military to stop Galamsey, but you can deploy the military to stop the exportation of maize, and so we should clap for you. Mr. Speaker, the issues we are talking about, they are serious issues. Our livelihood is threatened.
Who are those participating in the Galamsey? If we take census, some of you will be there. And the people you are talking to are aware. It's not that they are not aware. They are aware that some of you are participating in it. So please, first, desist from doing it yourself. Don't go to them for the money for your campaigns. Don't go to solicit their votes. Let them see you work. Truly, it's a disgrace that we've gone to this far. Look at the water. Horrible.
All right, welcome back. And once again, the program is focused. It's not only our water bodies, but even if you go to our farms, the cocoa farms also didn't destroy by activities of these illegal miners. Cocoa board is having very big challenges due to some of these problems with Galamsey. Yes, cocoa farmers are actually giving out their lands for people to actually engage in illegal mining. Not only also on our farms, but if you pick the Daily Graphic report on July 16, 2024, it talks about illegal mining activities that are said to have affected the progress of work on 3 or 4 bypasses on the Accra-Kumasi Highway. The bypasses that's, Osino, Enyinem, Konongo, form a major part of the Central Corridor Road project, but the contractor has cited illegal mining activities around these particular areas that are actually impacting the program or the project to roll on. The contractor said that the mining activities had made the soil soggy, requiring more filling to make the road compact, and that's the stress that has caused a delay in the project's timeline. And they stated that during an interaction when the minister actually went to inspect the progress of that particular project. So we realized that it's not only water, it's got to do with our farms, it's got to do with even our roads, our homes, and all that. Our guest in the studio, I have seated next to me, is Alhaji Yunusaf Husseini, former Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. Alhaji, good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you're good.
I'm fine.
All right. And how have you been?
I'm good.
Great. And then next to him is Awula Serwah. Awula, she's a coordinator, Eco-Conscious Citizens, as a non-governmental organization. Good morning to you, Awula.
Good morning.
I hope you're well too.
I'm well.
Good. And then next to her is Nana Akwesi-Iwa. Nana Akwesi-Iwa is a Chief Executive Officer of PMMC and member, Minerals, Mines, Natural Resources Manifesto Subcommittee of the New Patriotic Party. Nana, good morning.
Thank you, George.
I hope you're well.
Very well,
All right, thank you very much for joining us. Let me start with you, at least. I believe in that whole saying that ladies first. If you can help us understand how we actually got to this particular situation. I mean, to use the speaker's word, horrible.
Well, I think that we've had illegal mining or Galamsey for a while. But years ago, they used to use hand tools, so then we didn't have this amount of devastation. I think the genesis was when we started with the so-called small-scale mining. As far back as then, people warned that we don't have a culture of enforcement. We'll not be able to monitor and enforce. So it was a bad idea. We didn't listen, and we are where we are now. We're not enforcing. They are just there. And sometimes a lot of these small-scale miners, they are just illegal miners. The blatant one is also going on because whether we like it or not, there's complicity. We have state actors involved, we have chiefs involved, and therefore it's going on with impunity as we all watch idly by. And we don't seem to understand the gravity of the ongoing ecocide. That's why in Parliament we'll be having a competition about who polluted more than the other. I mean, this is totally disgraceful. We have existential threats. Water is life. We face extinction, and when we are facing extinction, we are such a low level that we are looking at who polluted more than the other. We believe that we must declare a state of emergency.
A state of emergency?
Because
That's
what is
far.
happening is like a war. It's like a war going on.
This is even worse than a war, though.
Well, it's even worse
because
now.
even in a war, to pollute your enemy's water,
it's a war crime.
It's a crime. It's a war crime. Yes, you cannot do that.
We are doing that.
So this is even worse than a war.
So this is worse, and therefore we should call a state of emergency. And I'm very disappointed when I see that the house is burning, and then we are thinking of licensing, decentralizing licensing. Have we lost the plot? Have we lost the plot? Even the big companies who are licensed, we can't even police them. We can't monitor them properly. Then you have thousands and thousands of community miners, artisanal miners. It's going to be mayhem. Don't we grasp this? So we need to pause community mining. Eco-Conscious Citizens had a manifesto. And according to the NDC, they were going to adopt it, but I don't see it in their manifesto. We asked for a pause on community mining, which is wreaking havoc. We also asked for a repeal of the perverse LI 2462, which allows for mining in forest reserves, including globally significant biodiversity areas. Who passes such a law unless you're perverse? When you know that this is going to destroy
it's perverse, not a strong word to use.
And we are in the decade of ecosystem restoration.
Okay, all right. Why do you describe it as perverse?
I describe it as perverse because if we understand what forest reserves are, and you're going to mine there, and you know what globally significant biodiversity areas are, not Ghana significant, not Africa significant, but globally, such as Atiwa Forest Reserve, the Draw Water Forest Reserve, and you say people can go and mine there. You can't be for real. The next minute you go and say, green Ghana, and then you are destroying the forest reserves, which if our forefathers had been as irresponsible as we are, we wouldn't have any forest reserves. We'd have to go to museums to see what forest reserves in Ghana looked like. And we are happily destroying them. And then we make a mockery of green Ghana when we are willfully destroying our forest reserves. I mean, we're a disgrace, is all I can say.
Nana, how did we also get here? At least let us understand the problem now.
George, I think that I will agree with Madam Serwah when she says that the genesis of this problem was when we saw an influx of mechanization when it comes to ASM, or the small-scale mining sector. And this influx, unfortunately, was occasioned by a demand for gold. And so you had a lot of foreigners trooping in, because our people have been engaged in mining for over a century, and there had never been a problem with that. They were engaged in small-scale mining, artisanal miners, and there was no problem with that because they were using tools that would not be able to cause that kind of damage to the environment. But when that introduction of mechanization came in, you saw that influx of foreigners also coming in and then teaming up with the locals or Ghanaians to be able to mine more from the environment. Now, when that happened, you saw these mechanized tools being deployed on our river bodies and what have you, and that is what led to the current situation that we have. But I think that to a large extent, there has been some regulation when that started, because I recall that the Minerals and Mining Act, which was passed in 2006 and has been amended several times, made provision for the regulation of small-scale mining. And so what it tells you is that, yes, there was a law, a legislation in place to check that as far back as 2006. Now, over the time, as with all legislation, because of the evolution of the ASM sector as far as their mining practices are concerned, it became imperative to take a second look at that legislation, which government did. And then when the incident of illegal mining or Galamsey became a big problem, this government actually took steps to further review that legislation with the idea to curb that phenomenon.
Which is the 2462.
Yes,
Okay.
and then several other amendments. For instance, when it comes to the importation of chamfine, it's now illegal. When it comes to even parts, you can't import the chamfine itself, nor can you import parts of it, because what government found was that people were importing parts of it, and then when it comes here, what they do is they assemble it and then deploy it onto the river body. So even the importation of it is a criminal offense, and there have been serious improvement or enhancement of the sanctions in the legislation as far as these criminal offenses are concerned.
You know, it's this same law, that's the 2462. I mean, apart from what Awula said, there have been other civil society organizations that are actually not for this particular LI, that the provisions in there are not really going to protect whatever we wish to protect in terms of our environment. So why even have that in force?
Well, I think we need to be mindful of the fact that mining has been with us for over a century. It is an economic activity.
Agreed.
It's a legitimate economic activity. Indeed, it's a legitimate economic activity protected by the Constitution. It is protected by the Constitution because as Ghanaians, under Chapter 5, we are allowed to engage in legitimate economic activity, and mining is one of them. We cannot underestimate the contribution of mining to our GDP. We cannot. The small-scale sector alone contributes about 40% of Ghana's gold exports. 40%. Today, Ghana is number 1 in Africa, number 6 in the world. Now, that aside, what it means is that we need to take a step further to regulate the activity. That is what is important. And the question then becomes, what has government done, or what have we done as a people to regulate mining activity in this country? That is what we need to focus on, so that it is done in a responsible manner, so that you still go ahead to protect the environment while permitting Ghanaians to engage in their legitimate economic activity, which is protected by the Constitution.
But with what we are seeing now, obviously there's no protection. With what we're seeing now, obviously, I get to understand that economic activity, but the legitimacy becomes a very difficult aspect for us to understand.
Now, yes, it is legitimate, but the manner and way you go about it will determine whether it is legal or illegal, right? Now, we cannot say that everyone who is engaged in mining is engaged in illegal mining.
But can we also say that those engaged in small-scale mining are actually engaged in illegal mining?
Indeed, I would say that, yes, when you look at the sector, there are a number of them who are engaged in responsible mining, well-regulated.
Who are small-scale miners.
Who are small-scale miners. And they've been in the industry for decades. Are you saying that we should stop them? Although they have not done anything wrong, they are filing their returns to the Minerals Commission every month. You have mine inspectors visiting them. Should we stop them from engaging in that economic activity? No. What we need to do is to ensure that those who fall outside the fray and are engaged in illegal mining are sanctioned and ensure that they are doing the right thing, just as their counterparts who are properly licensed are engaged in responsible mining. That, for me, should be the focus of the conversation.
All right. Awula really has been shaking her head since you started talking. But, I mean, if you can just hold on to that thought, let me pick Alaji's thoughts too, then I can come back to you, Awula. Alaji, still trying to understand the problem. How did we actually get here?
So we got here in 1989.
1989. What happened in 1989?
In 1989, we passed a law regulating small-scale mining. Before 1989, small-scale mining was a prohibited activity. So whether it's an economic activity or not, up until 1989, no one could engage in small-scale mining. Now, so in 1989, the government looked at the cost of maintaining sanity on the big concessions. In fact, at that time, they were running battles between concession holders and small-scale miners, or illegal small-scale miners who were digging into, trespassing onto their concessions. Government looked at that, and that's obviously the NDC era, and came to the conclusion or made a decision to legalize small-scale mining. That led to the establishment of the PMMC. Because before 1989, there was no PMMC. So because we legalized small-scale mining, the big concessions, when they mined, they took their ore out. So there was no platform to purchase gold won by the small-scale miners. So you needed an institution that will buy from them. So we established the PMMC to buy from the small-scale miners. Was it a prudent decision? Maybe we can now say, upon hindsight, that we needed to tread cautiously because we lacked, that Awula said, we lacked the capacity to monitor the implementation of the law.
Would it be fair to say that maybe at that time we didn't think that we would get to this bad
You know
state?
what I was thinking? I mean, when you are bringing about a policy and then all that you do is thinking, now you might run into difficulties. Do a simulation. The population was growing. The economy was not doing so well. We were not creating the jobs. So many people were going to go into unemployment. And if they went into unemployment, poverty and hunger will drive them to engage in illegalities. So you can see a correlation between rising crime and even the influx on the small-scale mining sites. Now, so up until the time that I was leaving the ministry, there were more than 1 million people engaged in small-scale mining. How do you deal with this issue? Now, the regulatory authorities too had not put in place mechanisms to ensure that people who wanted to take advantage of the law, and that's PNDC law 218. People who wanted to take advantage of the law were frustrated in when they applied because they needed to go through a lot of motions. Now, you have legalized small-scale mining. You say no one, and the law is quite clear, both in the Constitution, in the Environmental Protection Act, in the Minerals and Mining Act, that you cannot engage in anything that impacts the environment without a license. So now, you needed, because you had legalized it, you needed to put in mechanisms or institutional structures to ensure that people who wanted to engage in that activity will have some ease in getting that activity done. Because you see, why you needed to make the granting of licenses easy was because you didn't want to push people into doing the illegal things. And those who were granted licenses, and I agree with Nana, that if you are granted a license, you come under the radar. The Minerals Commission can do what? Can monitor you. In fact, every license will state the conditions under which you will mine. One grounds upon which a minister can cancel your license is when you engage in the activity contrary to the terms and conditions in your license. So you needed a licensing regime to ensure that you brought all those people under the radar so that they could. Now, we also had at that time, School of Mines, now University of Mines. The first professor who led the charge on ensuring that we regulated the small-scale mining activity in Ghana was at the Takwa University of Mines. His name has just escaped me. He has said, look, you cannot do this activity using the old crude ways of doing these things. We need to train the miners to understand that whatever they are engaged in impacts the environment. It impacts those who are not even in mining. So they have a responsibility to mine responsibly. Okay? So, but the institutional mechanic, like Ghana, we say these things. We sometimes do it with good intentions, but the implementation is
a problem. Yeah.
So when gold prices hit 1,800 and was rising. That was when the situation went out of control. Then Ghanaians, again, our patriotism. I know the Ghanaians, they are still available, who went to China and brought the Chinese. They're still available, and they're still into mining. When the law has said no foreigner can engage in small-scale mining. So the Chinese came. And they came and engaged in small-scale mining. Initially, they came and said, well, we're going to provide mine support. The law says you can't even provide mine support.
Yeah.
But they brought them and hid them in the forest. And they were mining.
And the Ghanaians protected them.
Protected them. And then the Chinese, they then saw that our system was loose. So they went and brought champans. It's not the Ghanaians who brought the champans, the Chinese. They brought the champans. And you know what the champans do? They mine in water bodies. And we have a law that says that no one can mine in water, but the law is there. It's there. So you ask Ghana Water Commission. So don't they know about the existence of this law? That when they see the champagne, this is the chief executive. Doesn't he know about the existence of this law? You can't even dredge a water body unless it's for the purposes of opening up the channels. You can't dredge, let alone mine. The last time they arrested more than 20 champagnes on River Ofin, I held my head. In 2012, 2013, when we were fighting the war, we saw 5 champagnes on Ofin, around Chichiure. 5 champagnes. That was when the mine pit capsized and it fell in, and then about 9 people died. The district chief executive lost his job. 5. So you see, when we were discussing.
So with the champagnes, you are saying that was the Chinese who actually introduced that into the system.
They introduced that into the system.
Then the Ghanaians.
But that's the name, champagne. You think champagne is Ghanaian? So what I'm saying that, you see, what we are discussing, I agree entirely with Taylor. I understand where Nana is coming from. What we are discussing is difficult to talk about.
Difficult? Why?
But it's impossible to keep silent about it.
Well, yeah.
Difficult because of the people and actors involved.
What do you mean the people
who have brought us to this where we are?
Okay.
It's a whole complex game of conspiracies.
Between who and who?
Between those who have kept in authority and those who are bent on carrying on this impunity.
Okay. So in other words, those who are in authority are aware of those who are doing that.
And I'm not the first to say it. And I'm not saying the first time on this platform. Because I remember when His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo made his famous statement and failed the first time to fight Galamsey and brought in Samuel Abu-Jinapor and held the conference. Abu-Jinapor went to Kumasi, you remember?
Yeah.
And
Ashanti
told him exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'm not the first person. I'm just saying that it's a shame. It's a shame that we have been unable as a people to rein in this canker. And that is threatening our very existence. And that's an existential threat as put by Madam Serwah.
Okay.
Because you see,
quickly, let me
I don't know
thoughts.
whether we have done natural resource accounting in this country. That the water we get for free, that the fishes our farmers used to go and catch in the river waters for free, that the snails we used to eat for free, that our cocoa which we planted and harvested and became the leading cocoa exporter. Our children that we brought forth and they lived on the environment are now all being attacked by Galamsey. Our women's health are now being compromised.
Yeah.
Our cocoa, the livestock of this, the lifeblood of this country has been put under the radar by our major trading partner, the EU, because of sanitary and phytosanitary conditions. You see, so look at it. And even we're not talking about the fact that the Galamseyers are destroying the farmlands. I say it, and I said it today to Madam Awula. It's a moral hazard.
Okay.
That some people are exploiting this thing, making money.
Yeah.
Then you and I, who are not doing it, are going to pay
for it. Unfortunately, though. Unfortunately. Yes, Awula.
Yeah, if I can come in now. I thank you very much. I really don't think we appreciate the seriousness of the situation. I don't think we do.
Really?
Because if we are saying something like the Constitution, first of all, enjoins every Ghanaian to protect the environment. That's
Yes.
what the Constitution
Article
does.
42.
And nobody
Yes.
here is saying that one shouldn't mine. What we are saying is that you cannot mine in forest reserves, including globally significant biodiversity. It means you don't understand the meaning of globally significant biodiversity areas. Because you have a right to mine, does it mean you can just go and mine anywhere? Of course not. In every responsible country, there are places where you cannot mine. So I'll say it again. LI 2462 is perverse and should be withdrawn with immediate effect. Now, when we said pause community mining, what we are saying is that the millions of community mining, we cannot enforce or monitor. And in this country, we have a regime of lack of enforcement, not just to do with mining. Look at noise. Somebody can just get up and make so much noise, you report to the authorities and they do nothing.
Yeah.
We are allergic to enforcement. And when we know what is going on with the mining, we know about the mercury, we know about the rise in kidney disease, we know about the maternal deaths, deformed babies, we know about the neurological effects of mercury. It is criminal to just sit on and allow it to go on. We know that it's going on also because of the complicity. For example, I'm not the first one to say it. There was the allegation that Akonta Mining was supposed to have destroyed parts of the Tano Nimiri Forest Reserve. This is after our president put his presidency on the line. What has happened to the directors of Akonta Mining? What has happened to them? Are they above the law? And I'm not trying to, they're not the only ones, but that is what comes to mind. Professor Frimpong Boateng had a report. What has happened to it? So we're not serious. And we cannot sit there and supervise the poisoning and murder of Ghanaians because we have a right to mine. Don't we also have a right to the green economy? You mentioned snails. We do know that the slime on snails is used for pharmaceutical projects for anti-aging. There's so many resources we can get for our forests. And as Professor Frimpong Boateng said, when you destroy a forest, you destroy a pharmacy. So why are we acting as if mining is the only economic activity that's open to Ghanaians?
But you know, with Akonta Mines, the president actually said that Akonta Mines is not involved in any.
Is he an investigator?
No, but that's the president. He said that Akonta Mine is not involved in any illegal mining. I mean, I'm just telling you what has happened.
Well, we
to
know
that.
he said that, but we are saying that is most disappointing because to the best of my knowledge and belief, he's not an investigator. So the matter should, I know the media against Galamsey had been calling for investigations. They have done a lot of work. To the best of my knowledge and belief, to date, they can't get a docket because of who is supposedly engaged or alleged to be engaged. So you cannot put your presidency on the line and then the actors close to you are supposed to be involved and nothing is done. That emboldens others. And I'm saying right now that if Ghanaians are not serious enough to either call a general demonstration or a strike because the people who can stop the illegal mining stop it, we're just supervising our own debts. And I'll keep on saying it. We can stop illegal mining yesterday if we are minded to do so. We're not particularly bothered. And I'll say that when SNIT was about to sell parts of its interests, when the organized labor were threatening a general strike, they did an about turn. I can guarantee you that politicians are interested in votes. If they threatened general strike or call a demonstration, we will stop it. We know, they're not doing the illegal mining under the cover of darkness. It's in broad daylight. Don't we have security forces? This is a war going on, and we're just sitting there. We're going to license them as if licensing is the key. Even when you license them, if you don't monitor them, there's no point. There's no point in licensing. I have a driving license. If the police don't monitor me, I can go through red lights because I've got a driving license. Of what benefit is the license? And the last thing I'll say is that look at as has been said, what is the benefit of all this mining? if you look at the health challenges, the destruction of the country, right now when you go to do the reclamation, you think it takes a day? Forests that have taken centuries to grow, you think you just go and plant something today and tomorrow everything is back. And the cost of it is totally criminal to act as if mining is the only way Ghanaians can live. When you don't look at the way fishermen have lost their livelihood, farmers are losing their livelihood, and even the miners are losing their health, and the rest of us, and you think mining is the only thing we can promote?
All right, from what you're saying, I get the sense that you wish that we don't engage in mining at all.
What I'm saying, there's responsible mining. I said there's responsible mining. I'm not against mining, but I'm against irresponsible mining. And it appears to me that most of the mining we have is irresponsible mining. Even the big companies, who's monitoring them? I've heard of things that I don't want to repeat without all the evidence at hand. But even they engage in activities they shouldn't engage in. And who is monitoring? We can't even monitor noise pollution. How can we monitor
illegal mining? Nana, I mean, in response to some of these things, where do you actually draw the line? I mean, there's small-scale mining, there's community mining, and having all of these things, have at the back of our mind our inefficiencies when it comes to implementation and enforcement of even the laws that we have. Where do we draw these lines in to get things right?
Well, I think that it's important to correct, or as it were, bring some clarity to certain terminologies. If I listen to Madam Serwah well, I think her use of the terminology community mining may be a bit misleading, because community mining is a new thing which was introduced by this government. And you see,
I don't believe that community mining is actually Galamsey.
Exactly.
No, just a moment. Community mining is not Galamsey.
Okay.
It's a well-structured ASM mining program, which was introduced by this government as one of the innovations to dealing with the issue of illegal mining.
Okay.
You see, when
you're a lawyer, right?
Yes, I am.
Beautifully said. Okay.
When talk is made of the president putting his presidency on the line as far as dealing with illegal mining is concerned, and it is followed with the fact that the president has failed in doing that, or as it were, he did not mean those words. I think that if anybody cared to know, to actually ascertain whether truly His Excellency the President put his job on the line or his office on the line to deal with this, if you look at the last election, 2020,
yes,
you would find that before, when he said this, he put a ban on small-scale mining, a complete ban. That was when there were confiscations of machinery and all of that. People's earth-moving equipment were confiscated and burnt. I'll tell you what. Are you aware that the national women organizer of the New Patriotic Party, Madam K. Jemfua, her earth-moving equipment belonging to a company she owns or is involved with was confiscated and burnt?
Yes.
You are aware?
Yes.
What does that tell you? That shows you that level of commitment, that yes, I have put my presidency on the line, and I don't care whose machines I confiscate, even if it is the National Women's Organizer of my own party. That is what happened. Beyond that, going into 2020 elections, go check the results from the EC. It's online. All the mining areas in this country voted against the NPP. The only exception was Takwa. If there is anything to prove putting somebody's presidency on the line, what is more than this?
No, that's not enough.
No, just a moment.
Okay, all right.
He lost all of that.
Okay.
He could have said that, okay, look, let me just allow them to continue with whatever they are doing.
And that's what's happening now.
But no, just a moment.
Yes.
I'm not done.
Okay, all right.
Let me allow them. I won't put a ban on it. Let me allow them. And he could have decided to whip up those votes. At the time he placed the ban on it and put his presidency on the line, somebody was walking around the mining communities promising them that if we come to power, we'll make you continue with your job.
Who is that somebody?
Kweku Boahen said it. Tony Obin said it. Even former President John also said it. She's confirming that it is true. Now, come 2020, the president loses all these mining areas. Then, thankfully, we are able to win the election. And then a new administration begins. And guess what? The reformations started. Now, those reformations were manifest in several ways. One of them was the introduction of the community mining scheme.
Okay.
Now, that introduction of the community mining scheme is such that what it does is it organizes the various small-scale miners within each particular community and place them under one umbrella. And then the Minerals Commission gives them a concession that, look, you are Kojo, you are Ama, you are Kofi Bedu, you are engaged in small-scale mining. This is a licensed area. This concession I am giving you. Mine. Now, it also comes with some basic structures in place. So there is a clinic, there are gold catchers, mercury-free gold catcher processing machines which are provided to them. And one interesting thing about the community mining scheme is the peer review mechanism that exists in that scheme. So Kofi Bedu and Ama, whoever, they are all engaged in community mining. Now, because Kofi Bedu and Ama are engaged and they have a responsibility to engage in responsible mining, if Kofi Bedu attempts to engage in illegal mining on that concession under the community mining scheme, it is incumbent upon Ama to report Kofi Bedu in order for him to do the right thing. Otherwise, they will lose the license.
Okay.
That is it. And so that is the peer review mechanism that exists within the community.
You know, with the community mining,
Ghanaians have come to accept
yes,
and embrace the community mining scheme.
Just
a moment.
Let's allow him. Let's allow him.
You have a lot of the traditional authorities who have made several advances to the ministry, asking them to come and open community mining schemes there.
Oh, really?
The most recent letter I received from the ministry was inviting PMMC to the community mining scheme to be launched, I believe, this Friday at there's a town called Mirichiso or something. That is one of them.
You know the Chine's verdict on community mining?
No.
Somewhere in 2021, that says that it's a bit of a disguised Galamsey because it's still polluting water bodies.
Absolutely.
It's still destroying the environment. This is the Chine's description of community mining. He's even called that whole program needs to be reviewed because it is still polluting the environment. It's still polluting our water bodies.
If there's a need for a review, yes, let's go ahead. Now, what facts were available to the Ochihine for him to make that pronouncement? Was it an isolated situation within his community? Is it the same for all the other community mining schemes that have been set up? Do we have these remarks coming against the other community mining schemes that have been set up? I don't believe so. So if that problem is peculiar to what falls within the purview of the Ochihine, then fine, so be it. I won't begrudge him on that. Then we need to deal with that.
Just some quick clarification here. So there's a difference between small-scale mining. There's a difference between small-scale mining and community mining.
Indeed.
Right?
Community mining is a type of small-scale mining.
Community mining is a type of small-scale mining.
Indeed.
And it's not Galamsey.
And it is not Galamsey. So small-scale mining, you have individuals who come for the licenses and they are supposed to be Ghanaians, strictly Ghanaians.
Yes.
Community mining is where you have a group of miners coming together and the Minerals Commission giving them a concession that go ahead and mine here.
Okay. So for those engaged in Galamsey, they are not recognized at all under any of these descriptions?
Not at all. Galamsey is an illegal activity as far as the law is concerned. And for that matter, it is not recognized.
You don't have small-scale miners engaged in that particular illegality in terms of the Galamsey?
Of course, you would have some small-scale miners who are engaged in illegal mining.
Do we have community miners also involved in illegal mining?
I am not able to speak to that because I don't have the facts for that.
But you are able to speak to the fact that there are small-scale miners that are actually involved in Galamsey?
Yes, Galamsey is here with us.
Although community mining is part of small-scale mining?
Galamsey is here with us.
No, I don't know if you get it. You're able to speak to the fact that there are small-scale miners who are engaged in Galamsey.
Yes.
But you're not able to speak to the fact that there are community miners who are engaged in Galamsey. although community mining is sort of a subset of small-scale mining?
I think there is the need to distinguish the terminology. You see, when you have a small-scale mining license, you are a legally certified small-scale miner. The law recognizes you. Okay?
Sorry about that.
But when you are engaged in Galamsey, it is an illegal mining activity.
Yes.
Those are two different things.
Yes.
So it could well be that though you have a small-scale mining license, the moment you go and mine on a water body or in a concession that does not belong to you under the terms and conditions of your license, then you are engaged in illegal mining activity.
Okay.
So that distinction ought to be made.
Okay.
That distinction ought to be made.
All right. Still, I mean, after this session, that we can get some bit of solutions to this. The whole terminology of small-scale mining, community mining, and that brings in Galamsey. And of course, you raised a very interesting point concerning the president's commitment in ending this whole thing. That's putting his presidency on the line. Well, he did that, but there are other repercussions they had to go through, one of which had to do with the candidate of the NDC saying that otherwise.
So you see, my problem is that when you have a CEO of a state institution or in the panel, and then it seems to be talking more as an MPP communicator than...
Oh, wow.
Yes. He is a lawyer.
Yes.
I'm a lawyer. Madam Awula is a lawyer. The Minerals and Mining Act at 703. Which part of it? Which part of it can you get community mining?
If I may.
Yes, please do.
Okay. I think that community mining. No. Just a moment. Just a moment.
When you look at
let's hear him out.
No. You've asked the question. No. I think it would only be fair. You wanted an answer. You've asked the question. Let me answer. No. Please.
Okay. This says which section of the law?
Of the law.
Community mining is a type of small-scale mining.
Okay, that's why
I mentioned that
yes.
when you asked that question.
Yes.
So small-scale mining is captured under the Minerals and Mining Act at 703 as amended.
But
so
is community mining in that particular
there's
law?
No mention of the terminology community mining. But let me land.
Yeah.
If as a way of dealing with the issue of illegal mining, government in its innovation brings about community mining, which is already made provision for under the Minerals and Mining Act, then it is permitted by law. Okay. If indeed, just a moment.
No, that's okay. I think we've gotten the input of
mining is illegal. I believe it can be challenged in court.
Okay, let's go.
It will be challenged.
Okay.
There's a time to challenge it. It will be challenged.
Okay.
For all these years, it hasn't been challenged.
Community mining is a criminal enterprise.
Community mining.
It's a criminal enterprise.
It's very unfair, especially for the thousands of people who are engaged in community mining right now.
Let me have him.
Let me say that it's a criminal enterprise.
Let me just hold on.
It's a criminal enterprise because it is not backed by law.
But he thinks
you see, George, there's a difference between criminality and illegality.
Okay. Let me have him. Let me have him make his thoughts. Just hold on. Okay. Yes.
The persons who can apply for a license are 1, an individual, 2, a company, and a company is an individual, a person, natural, a company, a cooperative. Under the law.
Cooperative. Did you hear that?
Under the law. But that's not a cooperative. You don't say a cooperative. It's a community mining. That's not a cooperative. That's not a cooperative.
For this explanation, community mining when this person, that person comes together. But the idea of a cooperative also here. Wait. Okay.
The second thing you have to ask yourself, and by the way, community mining did not come in the second term of the NPP. It came in the first term. It came immediately after they lifted the ban in 2019. So it is not true that it came under in 2020. Now, who are the people? Who are the people who have been granted licenses to engage in community mining?
They're cooperatives.
No, they're not cooperatives. They are individuals.
Come together to form a cooperative.
They are individuals.
Come together to form a cooperative.
No, they are individuals.
or companies.
And we know all of them. That's why I say it's a criminal enterprise. We know all of them. 2, when the president put his presidency on the line, he was virtually telling us that I will go away if I fail in this enterprise. It's not that if I don't burn excavators, I will resign. To put your presidency on the line means that I will leave the scene. I will admit failure. The president himself admitted that the first attempt at Galamsey was a total failure. Total failure. Then you will find impunity. That's why we have this, where we are. Again, in the law, there is a comprehensive regime to deal with seized equipment. There is nowhere in the law, Minerals and Mining Act, that permits the burning of equipment. Impunity. You see where we are? Because government was engaged in impunity. So individuals to take the law into their own hands. Doesn't it strike you as strange? And Nana says it, and I agree with him, that when somebody's doing legal mining, you don't ban that person. I don't know where Nana was. In 2017 to 2019, early 2019, NPP totally banned small scale mining.
I think he said that.
Totally. No, but he said in his opening remarks, he said, well, what do you expect those who have licenses and are doing things properly to do? So we warned government that, look, to do that is to treat those who are doing the right thing together with those who are doing the wrong thing equally. You can't treat them the same. And that you will drive the activity underground. We warned government. And does it surprise you that between that period, Ghana exported the highest amount of gold in the small-scale mining sector?
The period when it was banned.
The period when it was banned. How did the gold come up? So, you see, there are issues we have to deal with. I don't mind. I don't believe that people should not mine. But I believe that they must mine responsibly. Again, Madam Serwah talks about globally significant biodiversity area. That's a UNESCO classification. It means that in the Etua area, there are species of crops. There are insects. There are many things that are so significant globally for our global health that forest should not be tampered with. Again, government decided that it will put the price of bauxite above the health of the people. That is where we are. That's why people are engaged in illegal mining with it, because government itself led the impunity.
Okay.
Government led the impunity. You talk about Akunta. The minister himself, Samuel Abujinapo, wrote a letter to Akunta Bane warning them that their activities in the Nimere forest was illegal, that they had not been given a permit or a license. The president overruled the minister. The president overruled the minister.
He's the boss.
So why did he delegate authority to him? Because we know that the president cannot be everywhere.
Okay.
So you see, we are where we are because there's some lethargy, some failure in leadership.
What about the politics in that particular space? Like something he touched on.
It's true.
Former President John Dramani Mahama.
It's true.
Yeah.
So in 2020, again, I will demonstrate another impunity. A woman from China was arrested, engaged in illegal small-scale mining. That was after the president had put his presidency on the line. The law says that if a foreigner is arrested, engaged in illegal small-scale mining, that foreigner, the law is black and white on that. That foreigner will have to be prosecuted. And if convicted for the offense, that foreigner serves the offense in Ghana, serves the sentence in Ghana before that foreigner is deported. That's the steps, the procedure in the law. I'm not put the law. I came and met the law 703, Act 703.
703, yes.
What happened? They put benefits that we're going to get from China above, through Hydro, above the destruction of the environment and the fidelity of the law. We had passed a law as a people. So what did it expose us to? It made us a laughing stock.
Okay.
We had passed a law. Okay? So at that time that the president had put his presidency on the line, they were Ghanaians. I'm giving you the context and through which the people said what they said. They were Ghanaians who were arrested. Those Ghanaians could not be deported. Deported to where? Those Ghanaians were serving sentences in Ghana.
For something they have done wrong.
So something they have done wrong.
Okay.
And you have to treat people equally circumstanced, equally. You have to treat, it's a condition of law. That's why our motto is freedom and justice.
Okay, so
justice means treating people equally circumstanced, equally.
So because the woman was taken out of the country for breaking the law, those who have not done same work should be set free.
So again, legally, we are all lawyers here.
Yes.
So the woman was set free.
Okay.
That can be true.
Yeah, she was set free.
Because she was deported.
She was allowed to leave the country.
She was allowed to because she was deported. Yes, that's what you're referring to.
No.
So he's referring to the first one, but not the second one. He's referring to the first one. He's referring to the first one.
No. You don't know what the justification was from Afogate.
He's referring to the first one. Let's go on.
Far away.
Let's go. So because
so
of that happened, the Ghanaians will always be set free. That's the argument, right?
Equality is equality.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
We deprecate and deplore the destruction of our water bodies.
Okay.
Today we are poorer. Farmers are poorer because when they are going to the farm, they have to buy sachet water.
Yeah. No,
now, when we were growing up and going to the farms, you didn't need to carry water. You know what that means? The degradation of the environment is wreaking havoc. Poverty is bringing poverty to farming communities.
Let's make progress now. Now let's look for solutions and how best we can solve this particular problem. So will I just keep your thoughts with me? I'll come back to you. At least let's listen to both sides and what they're going. And I'll start with you on this. How are we going to solve this problem once and for all? I think we have an understanding of what the problem actually is. How do we solve it?
Indeed. I think that as far as solutions are concerned, this government started deploying some of those solutions.
Which are?
Number one had to do with the issue of licensing. It became apparent that most of the people who are engaged in illegal mining activity had a challenge because of the bureaucracies involved in licensing. And so what did the Minerals Commission do? My brother, the Minerals Commission, led the introduction of new technology to facilitate the license application process for small-scale miners. And he calls it the MCAS, where if you were in Atebubu or Zabzugu Tatale or wherever you are in this country, you need not travel all the way to Accra to be able to put in your license, mining license application. Everything is online. Beyond that as well, you find that reforms came in the area of how the small-scale miners recover their gold. So government supported small-scale miners with the gold catcher machines, the mercury-free gold catcher machines, where they don't make use of mercury. It's purely water, and then it's recycled water that they use to recover their gold. And the recovery rate is very high. And so you have many of these legally certified small-scale miners approach the Minerals Commission for assistance to procure those mercury-free gold catcher processing machines, as opposed to the status quo ante, where they were making use of mercury to process their gold. Again, I was part of a meeting in Kumasi where the president met with the National House of Chiefs, together with the Honorable Minister Samuel Jinapor. And one of the sentiments that was put across was that the chiefs were not involved in the license application process. And effectively from that meeting, one of the outcomes of that meeting led to the involvement of traditional authorities in the grant of mineral rights or mining licenses to people who are Ghanaians who are interested in getting mining licenses to engage in small scale.
These are the things that have been done.
These are things that have been done.
Okay, my quick question before we move further. With these things that have been done in the current state of our water bodies, has it actually worked?
I think that to a large extent, yes, it has worked, but there has been a challenge as well. Okay. There has been a challenge.
But if it has worked, then we shouldn't be saying what we are saying.
Because as we speak, the MCAS, which is the platform for license application, has worked. It is working. People are applying online. Chiefs are involved in the grant of mineral licenses as we speak. All the things I've mentioned are working. Community mining schemes are working. Now, there's the need to do more. That is accepted. There is the need to do more, which is why Dr. Baumia made propositions as to how to improve that sector in order to curb that phenomenon once and for all. Okay. You see, George, at the subcommittee level of the Manifesto committee, one of the things in our engagement with stakeholders, because consultations happened before the manifesto came out. Now, in one of our engagement, we observed that the feedback that came was that, well, one of the reasons why people engage in small-scale mining, just do it haphazardly, is simply because there are unconfirmed mineral deposits.
Unconfirmed mineral deposits.
Unconfirmed. Okay. So what then happens is that they do the typical Matra Emakwe mining. So they take an area, they mine, they don't find anything there, then before they move on to the next without reclaiming that one, and so
just hold on for me. I'll quickly have to go to the phone lines to talk to Kweku Afari, who's the technical director for WACAM. I'll come back to you so that we can just finish up. And at least I'll play to the producer, both TV and radio, to give us some bit of time to. So let's quickly talk to Kweku Afari, who's a technical director for WACAM. Kweku, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And thank you very much for joining us this morning. But briefly, we've all seen the challenges that we are facing in terms of Galamsey and how that is affecting our water bodies, affecting our farms, and now it's even affecting road construction too. In looking for solutions, what should be the way forward? That will be a lasting solution for this once and for all.
Well, first of all, let me also greet your panelists. Yes, I've been listening to the discussions, and I said I would also want to greet your panelists.
Okay.
So I've been listening to the discussions so far, and I believe that going forward, for the past, let's say, 10 to 12 years, that this menace has gained notoriety in the country, we've had several, let me say, initiatives and policies. If I can recall, we've had, is it the multilateral or multinational integrated mining, we've had Galamsey, we had the gold catcher coming in, we've adopted speedboat. I think it is essential that government should really recognize that this issue is really of national interest, and that there is the need for us to evaluate all the policies that we've really tried implementing. And for that reason, which has failed and has placed this country into such a state. Because we seem to be proposing new ideas, but not giving reasons as to why the others have failed so far. And that, for me, is one thing that we should begin to do as a country. We are beginning to get tired of policies and initiatives, community mining, getting all these people involved. At the end of the day, why are we still in this state? And as you said, we are all lawyers on this platform. The matter or the issue speaks for itself. Our water bodies are polluted. No other issue can speak louder today than the fact that, yes, we've done 19 things, we've introduced these programs. We need to evaluate these policies that we've put in place, why they have failed us as today, so that we don't keep on repeating the same mistake. Secondly, the issue of the will to address the problem. I don't think government has demonstrated that enough. I personally don't think so, because I can't say that the state of mining in which we are now is what we envisage. And I don't think my brother from PMMC is what he envisages, that getting receipts or fiscal receipts from gold should result in such pollution, such human rights violations, and such a national issue as such. So for me, it is important that if really we want to address this problem, number one, mining in forest reserve, I still don't see the need.
Thank you.
Why do you now you've mined to the extent that you have now brought about a law to even mine the forest reserve itself? What at all do we want? What are we looking for? When we are failing, instead of us looking for measures to address the problem, now all that we hear is that, oh, we are opening up government to be we want Ghana to be a mining hub. We should begin to see government demonstrating the fact that they will enforce the laws. Our problem is not with just the laws. Yes, we have problems with the mining in forest reserve, mining in water bodies. And with the issue of mining in water bodies, I'll refer all of us to section 17, which says that when a mining company gets the right from the Water Resources Commission, they can mine and do anything with the water body within its concession. So if I see a licensed mining company doing so, why can't I, if I'm operating illegally? What is the difference? Is it not just the paper? So let's begin to see government enforcing the laws to address the issue. The laws are there. If we follow them to the latter, I believe that we will address the issue. The enforcement issue. Are we saying our security agencies can't address this? Don't they have the intelligence to know who are the financiers? So that we will just stop picking those at the mining site. Can't we investigate to the latter? Who are those sponsoring these people? It's alleged that there are politicians involved. There are big people involved. What is preventing us? Are the benefits of the few political elites, does it outweigh the health impact on us, the citizens? I believe that we have not demonstrated enough that we have to address the problem. That is why we look at the enforcement and the law and evaluating all that will be transparent to the people of Ghana and be frank that the allegations that politicians are involved, it is so. The allegations that these people are involved, this will help us clear the matter. But we can promulgate all the laws. But if we are not transparent to the people, we will continue to be proposing recommendations that will not be fit for purpose.
All right, Kweku, thank you very much. Grateful for your input this morning. So that's Kweku Afari, who is the technical director for WACA. But let me have you finish up, then I'll come to another guest. Our solutions. Just quickly.
Sure. Thank you. Yes. So, like I was saying,
you've talked about what has been done and what's here.
One of the feedbacks we got was that it was simply because they were engaged in Matra and Makwe style of mining. So they go here, they find that, oh, I didn't strike gold, so I move on to the next concession or next parcel of land to do mining, and then without even reclaiming the previous one. So what is being proposed by Dr. Baumia is that he's going to invest in geological survey to confirm proven mineral resources
before
the licenses are granted, so that the geological Ghana Geological Survey Authority, together with the University of Mines and Technology and other universities, will come together and then engage in confirming the proven mineral resources across the country. So we know that if you take this particular parcel of land, there's gold here, there's lithium here, there's bauxite here. And once that is confirmed, once you grant the licenses, that in itself goes to solve another problem, which is funding. Because if you have a confirmed proven resource that there is this amount of gold deposit in this particular concession, what it then means is that with that paper, with that document, you'll be able to secure funding or get investors who would come in to say that take this money and then do your mining. Right. Then it solves the problem of having other people who come in to support with all those things which end up in illegal mining activities.
From the NDC side, solutions.
My solutions are very simple and straightforward. They are quite innovative.
And these are solutions captured in the NDC manifesto?
Yes.
Okay.
And we tried it in Takwa, when we were even in power, and also Denchira. They're very simple. And I told Nana Akufo-Addo when I chaired the first session of his relaunched fight against Galamsey, give the DCE's key performance indicators. They're the highest political authority in the district. No DCE can tell me that he doesn't know that mining is taking place. Hold the DCE accountable. That is what leadership is about. That's what governance is about. Governance is not, even though Article 58 vests executive authority in the president, doesn't mean that the president must every day take a helicopter and be roaming the country fighting Galamsey. He delegates authority and gives them performance indicators. I thought that when you put his presence on the line, you would have done that. Because we have operated a decentralized system of governance. So you, at the district, you have the district BNI boss. At the district, you have the district police boss. All these state institutions, security institutions, are at the district. At the head of that district is the district chief executive. You know why he's been unable to do that?
Why?
From Paul Boateng's report. Because people at the Flagstaff house were those who were doing the Galamsey. And in the natural order of things, a person working at the Flagstaff house close to the seat of government is more powerful than a DCE.
Well, that shouldn't be the case.
So you couldn't rein them in. That is why our DCEs must be elected. So that we suffer.
Oh, so you support our DCEs?
Yes, I support it.
Okay. As an individual?
No, even as a party, but on non-partisan lines.
Oh.
So that we even know that Nananto or Awula can effectively manage a district. It doesn't matter which political party he belongs to. Get the people to elect him on non-partisan basis.
Okay.
I don't want this partisanship. It should be on non-partisan basis. Two, communities like she is. Communities. Wakam, you just call Wakam. You know how it came up. You know the full meaning. What's the community against mining? That's the full meaning. Get the community. You see, you are talking about the right to life. Probably don't realize it, which is a constitutional right. That the people who drink this water were compromising their right to life. That the farmers who can no longer produce food crops were compromising their right to life. People who live in communities must know that when you allow Galamsey to reign with impunity, you are compromising your own right
to life.
So they should rise up. Community action, civil community action. That is the way to go. 3, we NGOs like hers must work hard to make environmental the environmental degradation and environmental crime.
Okay.
So that it will have universal jurisdiction. So that if our government refuses to call those who are destroying our environment to account, they can escalate it to other foreign fora. And those people will be compelled to appear for those fora.
Okay.
We must work. You see, it has happened. And for the gold, it was there since the creation. And auto photos have already been taken across the country. Auto photos have already been taken.
So we know where they
are
deposited.
Already been taken. Except that
all the minerals, including lithium,
everything.
But we just got to know where we have lithium.
No, the quantity there is now economically significant.
It is the biggest challenge.
Because you see, we knew that there was oil in Ghana. Those areas we couldn't go to were hard to reach areas. We didn't have the technology, but we always knew that there was oil there.
Okay.
So when oil was receding, when the wheat production was receding, those wells became viable.
Okay.
They became viable. So we know auto photos have been taken. Now what I'm saying is
quickly
that,
wrap up.
what I'm saying is that I'll recap.
Yes.
And that's what the NDC, when we say we're going to fight illegal mining vigorously, that's what we're going to do. Look, people who want to go into mining must take licenses. If you don't want to take a license, you are simply a common criminal. And you are engaged in mining, you are simply a common criminal. You were arrested and dealt with.
Okay.
Now, the communities must know that when we are dealing with those engaged in illegal mining, we are protecting their right to life.
Okay.
3,
the
district chief executives must know, and a district chief executive under a potential NDC government or a future NDC government must know that he will have a key performance indicator. His ability to continue to be in office, to serve in office, will be dependent on how he can fight Galamsey.
Thank you very much. Awula.
I'll say that ultimately it's a problem of compliance and enforcement. Those who are engaging in illegal mining right now, we all know it's an act of criminality. Why are they not being arrested? Because we are complicit, whether it's the chiefs, whether it's the political authority. So I subscribe to the view that DCEs, regional ministers, whether it's Galamsey in their area, they should be removed. That will make them sit up. Also, until we get our act together, there should be a pause on community mining. There's no point in licensing people when you cannot monitor. There's absolutely no sense. And then we should repeal the perverse LI 2462. I'll keep on saying it is perverse. We cannot allow mining in globally significant biodiversity areas. Water is life. It's a criminal offense to force people to have this water. And very soon, those in authority will be held accountable for crimes against humanity. They will not be in power forever. And we should stop allowing what is going on to go on. If it's a state of emergency we need to declare, we should declare a state of emergency. When the last tree dies, the last man dies. If our forefathers had been irresponsible as we are being, we won't have any forests to look at. So we say that no mining in forest reserve, especially globally significant biodiversity area. Let me say one thing about the community mining. In a region like Atronsu, for instance, there was no consultation. They said they do not want community mining. It was being forced down their throats. So they
which area is that?
Atronsu.
Okay.
Yes.
In which region?
In the northwest region.
Okay.
So they've had to take a case to court. If it's community mining, why should the community members have it forced down their throats? So I am done. We have what is happening because we have not put our presidency on the line. If even you lose votes, you are prepared to go. You are prepared to go because it's so important. The livelihood of Ghanaians, the well-being of Ghanaians, the health of Ghanaians is more important than being in power for the sake of being in power.
George,
Okay. All right.
I would want to simply add a few words that I think that when all is said and done, given the nature of this menace, we need to be our brother's keeper.
That's true.
The reason is simple. When you go to certain communities where we all know there's a lot of gold there are people who have built houses around, and then right in the middle of their bedroom, they are digging down to find gold.
To arrest them.
In their homes.
In their homes, they are digging. So it is incumbent upon us as Ghanaians as well. See something, say something.
That's true.
People do
When
that.
you observe these things, please don't keep quiet about them.
Thank you.
Report them
People
so
report
that
and nothing
action
happens.
can be taken about them.
And I'm going to.
Those are my last words.
I mean, she said that people report and nothing happens.
Something is done.
No.
George, do you know, you have any idea the number of people who are currently under prosecution in court?
Engage in Galamsey and
Yes,
some
who
of
have been
these
in
acts.
Well, I
court
can give you
in
so many
illegal mining.
examples.
You have any idea the number of convictions that have been passed?
Do you have any idea of those who are reporting nothing is happening?
Madam Awula, you said something that is very striking. That exposes us, the present generation, as very irresponsible. When I went to Chichire as Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, the Queen Mother of Chichire, in the public forum, said she didn't understand what was happening to us. Or say, Omonim say, Sikakoko, Evolution, Nenso, Oman Court is Sionumu, Enkoyi, Sikakoko.
All right. So with our forefathers knew that there was gold in the water, but they did not
never
agree to
entered
mine.
But they were sensible.
They were sensible.
But we are criminally minded. No, we're prepared to
All right.
poison our fellow Ghanaians for what?
We had deities in the water as well. They protected.
But why are deities now?
Now we don't have any
No, but now
regard
we
for
have
these
irresponsible
deities.
government. That's
Okay.
what it is. And if we can't govern, we should go.
Let's do it.
All right. We'll leave it here. It's community affected by mining. That's work up, not community against mining.
Affected by
affected
mining.
by mining. Yes, affected by mining.
Was that community affected
Yes,
by money?
yes. Wasa Association of Communities Affected by Mining. Okay. Desmond, thank you very much. Nana, thank you very much. Awula, thank you. Elijah, thank you. I've enjoyed talking to you. All right. Let's work together to ensure that we protect our environment, we protect our water bodies. Listen, like we stated earlier, even in war, if you are to poison your enemy's water, it's a war crime, and you'll be prosecuted for that. What we are doing is even more than what's going on in the world.
Peacetime is Medros.
This is dangerous. Let's do something to stop it. This program will be repeated this evening at 11 after major news bulletin at 10 on GTV. My name is George Sappor. I'll see you when I see you. Bye-bye.